Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Danielle, and if you're new here, I tend to do grocery shops, what I eat in a week, and some recipe videos as well. And I normally live by myself, but try to keep to being on a budget and healthy eating as well. My hair is a bit of a mess today. When I recorded this, I just finished doing about a 3.5 mile walk. Just wanted to get out and about for a bit, and obviously the British weather means that my hair is now mildly damp and a bit straggly from the wind as well. But anyway, I did end up going to a few places this week. I went to the garden centre as part of my walk and ended up picking up a couple of things that were discounted there. I went to a local global market, which is a pretty new place that's just opened that does a lot of sort of African and Caribbean kind of things. So I picked up a few items in there. And then obviously I went into Lidl as well. With all of those things, it means that I probably spent a little bit more than normal, still not a terrible amount, especially for the actual items I got and given where I am as well. I will probably talk about some of those when we are going through all of those purchases in a few minutes as well. But as always, we will come back and then I'll discuss with you what I actually ate last week to how well it went, and then what I intend to eat for the next week as well. So without further ado, let's get into what I bought this week. So without further ado, let's see what I got. And as you can see, it's a bit of a higgledy-piggledy mess. But I got a tiny amount of ginger. Don't need a huge amount of ginger this week. Obviously, I do find that if I do get bigger pieces, then it tends to go off. So no much point in getting a bigger one when I don't need it. And then I did just get a couple of loose potatoes. Need these for some mash. And then I will be doing both of them into mash and figuring out what to do with the rest of it as and when I actually sort of have it. I might end up doing part of it as my lunch. As you can tell by my hands, it was particularly cold in my kitchen today. But it is what it is, especially after doing a nice long walk as well. And then I grabbed a grinder for some sea salt. I obviously have sort of table salt and then some pink Himalayan ground salt as well. But there are definitely a few times where I could have done with it in an actual grinder form. So I did just pick one of those up as well. And then I got some caramelized spice biscuits. These are obviously kind of Speckaloos Lotus style biscuits, but they're Lidl's own brand one. And I have seen a viral recipe involving this, some Greek yogurt and stuff. And I'm thinking I might add some vanilla extract and a few other bits to it as well. But then I got this pack of 5 sets of Yum Yum shrimp flavor noodles. And I figured these would be good to have on hand for super speedy lunches if there's any days where I'm just not feeling it. Obviously, the good thing is that they won't be going bad anytime soon. Then I got some more blueberries. I'd pretty much used up all of the fruit that I did have. I still have some oranges and things left, but I just wanted to pick some blueberries up for if I do want to have them for breakfast during the week. And then I grabbed some grapes as well. Got a punnet of the mixed seedless ones. There seems to be a bit of an offer going on all kinds of grapes in Lidl at the minute. So if you love your grapes, then it's definitely time to consider purchasing some without it feeling like it broke the bank. Because I don't know about you, I find grapes can be pretty pricey sometimes. Then I got a sweet potato. Have a recipe that involves doing one this week. That one potato will be more than enough for what I need. And I only had one pot of this yogurt left, especially if I do intend to do that sort of dessert thing. So I wanted to pick up another one as well. And as always, I just enjoy having it for breakfast and things here and there. But then I grabbed some of these vegetable crisps with sea salt as well. They obviously pretty much just have, literally in this case, vegetables, the sea salt, and then some vegetable oil as well. Nothing else. And just want to have something that is a bit of a crunch. And I appreciate that they're still not the healthiest, but at least they're vegetables in some form. I picked up some more shallots. I ran out of the ones that I had. I love to use them. I find them to be pretty practical to have, especially for some recipes where they do tend to make things that little bit sweeter without a true oniony punch. But then, talking of things with a punch, I picked up some Thai green curry paste. And, it should last me, obviously, it says serves 4, but I'll see how I get on to whether I actually need a quarter of a jar of it for the recipe I do intend to do. And then I picked up some Greek style salad cheese, which is, of course, just pretend feta. Again, that's actually to go with that sweet potato. And then I'll probably have a little bit left over and incorporate it into a lunch or something somewhere during the week. And then I had an offer for 1 kilogram red onions, and they happen to have a normal discount anyway. So it made it worth me picking up this 1 kilogram bag, especially because they're all pretty small. So I'd actually be able to use probably one of them at a time. And then I was so pleased because I love the Arizonas, but so often they don't have the zero sugar one in there. But today they did, so I picked up a couple of those, as well as them some more of that cold fresh juice that I tend to pick up. Again, I find that that's super handy, especially sort of on a Monday and a Tuesday where it is slightly longer at work. And I just want to get an extra bit of nutrition in without having the time or the energy to necessarily do it. And then I picked up two kinds of eggs. I got the medium standard ones to do some baking with, to be able to put into Yorkshire puddings. And then I got the fancier golden yolk ones to have actually as eggs. And I've nearly ran out of rice, so I wanted to pick up some more standard basmati rice as well. I find that this goes fantastically in my rice cooker and everything. So I will be doing that. But then that's everything I got from Lidl. It's not where it ends, because I did go into the garden centre as part of that walk, and I spotted that they had a couple more of the Yorkshire preserve things discounted due to their short life. So I got a mojito marmalade, which includes some rum, so lots of lime, a bit of mint, and then I got the roast red pepper relish, which I feel is pretty self-explanatory. But I have another one of their sort of jars already, so I figured that would make it quite a nice collection. And then there's this global supermarket just in town now, and I've eaten goat before. I wanted to pick some of this up to be able to perhaps next week be able to pop it into a slow cooker or something. But the price is pretty reasonable. Obviously, it used to be cheaper when I was in London, but obviously it's not as readily available here. So it makes sense that it's perhaps a little bit more, but still not too pricey when you compare it to lamb or beef. I picked up these spicy yellow plantain chips and also some chicken stock powder, which for me is super handy because when you live by yourself, it's so much easier to just take a quarter of a teaspoon of this or however much I need and sort of do it with that water rather than looking at a whole stock cube or a bouillon cube or whatever it might be and having to figure it out. But there we go. Now let's get to what I'm eating this week.
All right, so after you've seen all of that, you'll also see the total of everything. Like I said, it's obviously not the worst thing in the world, especially where I'd get that goat. Like I said, I don't live in a main city, a main town. It isn't like I live in London anymore. That kind of thing's readily available. So it completely actually makes sense for the price it is. Whilst I might not necessarily do it this week, I'll definitely be giving it a go in a week or two as well. But as always, I have my food plan. This time it's just on my shopping list still because I haven't written it up yet. But I've finally taken out the fish and the seafood. You might be able to see it behind me because it is slowly defrosting because my kitchen, as always, is absolutely cold. If I don't keep it there, it won't be done in time if I put it into the fridge. So I'm doing my fisherman's pie tonight. Then I'm doing the paella tomorrow with the rest of that, which I'll obviously at that point put into the fridge so it stays cold. Going to do toad in the hole with some of those sausages I got from the butcher's last week, and that's why I grabbed some of the more normal basic eggs and everything to be able to do my Yorkshire pudding mixture. And then I'm finally going to do the rice vermicelli stir fry that I mentioned. I'm going to do that with some chicken and then use the rest of the chicken, given how big all those chicken breasts are. I will be able to take one out, half it, cook half of it for that one day. And then for the other half of it, I am intending to do a curry with some rice as well. Obviously, that's why I picked up some more of that rice. I do have my slow cooker now. Not my slow cooker, well, I do have a slow cooker as well that I might end up doing the curry in, but then I have my rice cooker that I'll want to be able to do the rice for it with. I'm going to give a slow cooker sweet potato and feta risotto a go, intending to be able to prep it on my lunch break, then put it in on, so it actually starts to cook on my afternoon break, because the recipe only takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours. So that should mean that it is then perfectly cooked and ready for when I do want it. And then I still have quite a lot of cheese left over and I want to make sure I use it all before it goes bad. So I'm just going to do a mac and cheese. I might throw the odd vegetable or something in there as well. But we'll see with that one. So whether I'm just feeling super indulgent on the cheese front or whether I want to do a bit more balance. But that is everything that I do intend to eat this week. Obviously last week with that, it means that there were 3 meals I didn't have. I obviously cooked my gammon up that I got from the butcher's last week. I just ended up having that for a few meals and going off track and doing a few simple things. But it is what it is. At least I'm trying to stick to a rough plan. It wasn't that I then went out and purchased anything else. It just means, and nothing that I had already got in terms of those meals I'd planned for went bad because everything was still generally in the freezer or something like that. So not too bad. But I definitely want to get into being more consistent and actually sticking to my meal plan. So hopefully I can do that this week. Taking the fish out is definitely a good start, and we'll make that a little bit easier. And then everything else, again, means I can work around it pretty easily in terms of my sort of actual schedule, especially where a few things are probably going to involve the slow cookers and stuff, where I'm on late, so most of the week it'll give me a chance to actually get it started or get it prepared before I start work, and then just flick it on later on in the day. The joys of working from home, I suppose. But that is everything for this week. Don't really have a huge amount to say. Next week will probably just be literally a Lidl shop, which I'm sure my bank balance will greatly appreciate. But as always, thank you for taking the time to watch. And if you did enjoy this, if you'd like to see more, then please consider subscribing. I do my meals of the week videos, normally get put up on Saturdays. I normally do these grocery shop videos on Sundays, and then recipe videos throughout the week, sometimes the odd food review, as well as sort of some of the shorts. So, like I said, please consider subscribing and like and get involved in any of the conversation below as well. I always try to pop a random little question below for you to get involved in. I always just love to find out, especially for these videos, what you purchased this week and perhaps what you intend to do with it. If you turn around and say to me, hey, I got some oxtail from a local shop, then let me know what you're intending to do with it, because mine also does oxtail, and it'd be good to think of inspiration beyond the kind of basic soup, something like that. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again soon.